Hello Bean Team, welcome to this Q&A video. Today I'm going to be answering some questions that were sent in via Instagram, which you should follow me on. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, the first question is, do you have any interest in specific specialties before going into clerkship? So for those of you who don't know, clerkship is third year of medical school, and it's when we are in the hospital full time and we rotate through all the specialties. Clerkship is really helpful for figuring out what you are interested in, but it's also a huge learning experience. So the first 2 years are really just based in the classroom, and then third year is when we have our big exposure. So I am a bit nervous to be like, this is the specialty I'm interested in before rotating through all the specialties. I will tell you, but I want to say it with the caveat that there are so many specialties that I literally haven't even shadowed. I don't even know what they entail. So it's a bit premature for me to say, this is what I'm gonna do with my life. And I'm 100% very open to other options. But as of right now, I will say that I am very interested in pursuing a career in surgery. I will say that I went to med school and I applied to med school because I was interested in surgery. This is a long-standing interest. Like before I even knew that becoming a doctor was like a possibility or something that I could do, I was interested in surgery. So that being said, I do have a specific specialty that I have really connected with, and I really love sort of the anatomy and the patient population, the surgical management, as well as the non-surgical management of these patients. I'm not gonna say it, I'm sorry to be super disappointing. I just think it's too early to be like, this is the specialty I want to do. I will share it with you guys eventually. Anyways, to summarize, I am very interested in surgery. I think there are so many key players in the interprofessional team, and I kind of think of like the patient's journey as a story. So the start is like when they start to have symptoms, and then a key part of their story is when they receive a diagnosis, and then the next part is their management, whether it be medical or surgical. And then the end of the story can be so variable. It can be cure, it can be palliative management. Anyways, in terms of that storyline, the part that I want to be a part of that is like so cool to me is the surgical part. I think it can be such a turning point in a patient's life, and just the concept of the fact that a patient can come into the OR with a problem, and by cutting and sewing, you can literally remove that problem for them. That blows my mind. And of course, there are so many other really key important aspects of the story. But to me, just surgery that is where I want to be. I love everything about it. Okay, second question. I'm going to combine a few questions. One is, how do you motivate yourself to run? Second is, how can I exercise indoors? And 3, how do you stay fit when you're super busy? I wish I knew the answer to this question because my life would probably be a lot easier and a lot healthier. But in terms of motivation, tip number 1, I would say, is schedule it with a friend. So through our university, we get like free gym membership. We also get like free membership to the pool. So take advantage of that, find a friend, sign up for a class together, or just choose to work out together, block off a chunk of time, and then you're committed, and at least like you're getting to the gym or you're starting to work out. Same goes for runs. I always try to do them with friends, do trail runs with friends. It's safer because of the wildlife if you're like out in the bush, but also like you keep a better pace, and it's just like less painful when you have someone there co-motivating you. Other things is try to just make it part of your normal schedule. So for a period of time, you may have saw in my vlogs that I was running to school. That just became a normal part of my morning routine. It's like, okay, it's Monday. Every Monday I run to school, and you just have your setup. You have your bag packed the night before. Everything is set up so that when you wake up in the morning, no excuses. You just go through the motions, and all of a sudden you're running to school, and by like 7:45 in the morning, you've accomplished an 8K very uphill run. Feels pretty good. In terms of exercising indoors, I like to follow YouTube videos for exercise workouts. Blogilates is a really good one. Her Extreme Abs 2 is one of my favorite workouts. I just have a yoga mat, some weights, and I just kind of do my thing. Other things that you can follow, the Kayla Itsina's workout is something that I really like. Unfortunately, it's very expensive, but there's so many like workout apps out there. I think the Nike Run or Nike Plus app is something that I've heard is recommended. So yeah, it's kind of strategies for working from home. And then staying fit when busy. Honestly, it's really hard. Sometimes you just have to make sacrifices and you have to decide, is fitness a priority right now? I will say during exam time and when I'm studying, fitness kind of goes out the window because I need to learn stuff. But during more quiet times, take advantage of that and just work out as much as possible. All right, next question is about med school. One was, what was the best or worst year, first or second year? Second question is, what is the culture like in medical school? So first question, what was better, first or second year? This is such a tricky comparison because they are so similar yet so different. In terms of curriculum, it's pretty much the same. Like we have lectures, we have labs, we have exams, we have OSCEs, and then we have flex. It kind of doesn't change. For me, I think first year was the better year for me, which is kind of surprising. It was a transition year for sure, but I think just the novelty of it all, I like novelty, so it kept me on my toes, kept me kind of stimulated, and I was really interested. Everything was kind of new, and you get really excited. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to use my stethoscope for the first time, or oh my gosh, I got to talk to a real patient. And I think in first year, you're just so enthusiastic and you're just like so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and your confidence hasn't been like completely destroyed, and just all these novel new opportunities just like blow your mind. I definitely cried more in second year. I think you just kind of get burnt out after a while. I didn't cry at all in first year. I was just like, woohoo, I'm in med school. Second year, I probably cried like 4 or 5 times just from like feeling stressed and burnt out, even though the workload was the same. I don't know. So then second part of this question is, what is the culture like in med school? I think as a medical student, you have so much impact on what the culture is like. So I think whatever you put out there is what you receive. Some medical students are very competitive. Some medical students have like PhDs in 3 subjects and they just are like so knowledge driven, and sometimes that comes off as very intimidating or very intense for someone like me who doesn't even have a bachelor's degree. So yes, like those rumors about the culture being like crazy and stressful, I think are true. I don't think it's a backstabbing culture. Like nobody that I know is actively trying to sabotage anyone else in the class, but you can definitely get an underlying sense that there's stress present, and sometimes it's not always collaborative. In terms of my personal experience, I was really lucky to find a really amazing core group of strong friends, and we're just like so supportive of everything for each other, and I think that is so important. Oh my gosh. I like just get emotional thinking about it because it's such like a lifesaver to find these people that you mesh with in so many ways. We're very supportive in terms of not guilting each other for not working as hard as the other. And then the other thing is we all like to exercise and ski together, and we do a lot of fun things together. We have like food Fridays together where we make potluck and we just hang out and chat. So that has been so amazing, and it's so uplifting because you can kind of use that time to talk about all your like fails of the week, and other people are like, oh, I failed that too. Not literally failed, but like, you know, kind of messed up or embarrassed yourself in clinical skills or whatever. And so that has been really supportive, but we also encourage each other to study. So we'll just form study groups or silent study. During the quarantine, we've been FaceTiming and studying together. So that for me has been such a positive, uplifting, supportive culture. And I just encourage you to find that in medical school. It takes time, and honestly, you have to be part of that cultivation, and you have to put out that positive energy in order to receive it back. Okay, next question. There were a lot of questions about the MCAT, advice for pre-med, GPA. Honestly, I get asked this a lot, especially on Instagram, and I think in answering this question over and over and over, I've kind of distilled down like my answer, and there's a common running theme. Hello, this is Editing Kian. I just wanted to put forward a disclaimer. I have never sat on an official admissions board to medical school, so all of this advice is really derived from my own experience, as well as anecdotes from my colleagues, as well as advice that I collected when I was in the application process. So all of my remarks about how computers and the admission committee goes through applications is purely speculative, so please take that into heavy consideration when you're listening to this advice. So the biggest piece of advice, honestly, that I can give is find a school that you want to go to for medical school and see if they release their med school admissions statistics. A lot of med schools release their statistics, so it shouldn't be hard to find. If for whatever reason the med school you're interested in doesn't have their statistics available online, find a similar school. Look at these statistics. They should tell you things like average GPA, average MCAT score, average age, degrees that were accepted, just like general information of the incoming class. They also give you the average GPA, MCAT, etc. of people that were rejected. At least my school does. So look at that, and that is what you should use as sort of your ballpark estimate of where you need to be and whether you are meeting that target to get into med school. The other thing you need to look at is admission requirements. These are like the bare minimum things, so make sure you have checked off all your admission requirements. So a lot of schools have a minimum GPA. You need to make sure that your GPA is higher than that, no question about it. Doesn't matter if you volunteer for 10 years, own a country, built an orphanage. If your GPA is below that cutoff, the computer is just going to toss out your application and no one's going to get to read about all your volunteer experience. That's the harsh truth. Obviously, there are some med schools that have like a philosophy that don't like cater so much to GPA and want more well-rounded students. If that's your case, maybe look into that. But in terms of traditional med schools and the traditional route, you have to check a lot of boxes. Okay, last question is not about me, but it's actually about my boyfriend. Some people were wondering what he does and how he's doing, which I thought was so funny. So my boyfriend's name is Scott. Also, I don't like the term boyfriend. This is just like a thing. Yeah, it's a very accurate label for what we are. But I feel like when I think of like boyfriend and girlfriend, I imagine like high school people like holding hands. And I'm just like, we're so much more than that. Anyways, what does my boyfriend do? We were laughing about this last night because, you know, like Chandler from Friends, how like nobody really knows what he does. It's kind of like my boyfriend. So my boyfriend works at a structural engineering company and he is an AutoCAD technician. Hopefully I got that right. So basically he does all of the like structural drawings for the engineers to use for like structural things. And then he also does like field reviews, and yeah, he's just part of the engineering team and he's doing well. Alrighty, that brings us to the end of the Q&A video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you found that enjoyable, learned something, had fun listening to me babble, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!